Hey everyone, this is an update on now Hurricane ERIN in the Atlantic Basin. I figured I tried my card at doing some sort of format like this with the video and with what's on my screen, so you can get a little bit of what I'm doing, what my thought process is when I look at ERIN and everything. We're just going to go over where it's going to go and really just all you need to know about ERIN. Thankfully, as of right now, it's not a big threat. So we are on the National Hurricane Center's web page. You can see ERIN here, 65 knots or 75 miles per hour, moving west at 17. So it is moving at a pretty good clip right now with a pressure down to 993 millibars. We'll see the official track right here. Major hurricane, the National Hurricane Center is calling for. And look at this, calling for a major hurricane pretty early on now. In the track. It used to be kind of back towards Sunday night. Now they're forecasting Saturday night. So we know what that means, right? When a hurricane becomes stronger earlier, it means it's just going to be pretty strong later on. And that's what we're expecting. You can see down here, I'll get the pen out, got these new tools here. Tropical Storm Watch in effect for the Leeward Islands. So that's just, ERIN's going to be passing north. You can see right here. And so some of this outer wind field right here, you can see outlined in orange, might start to cover the Leeward Islands as ERIN makes its way over, but not looking like a big threat to them right now. The bigger threat probably going to be some large waves, which we'll take a look at in a second. But yeah, so tropical storm, or now Hurricane ERIN, going to be moving towards really right through the goalposts, North Carolina, Bermuda, right in between that little corridor, which is nice. We will take a look at let's go over to the satellite now. The satellite view is pretty interesting of ERIN. Let's take a look. Here we go on Tropical Tidbits. And yeah, you can see, look at this, vertical hot towers. I will pause it at the very latest frame right here. There we go. Let's take a look here. So we got this right here, massive, massive blob of convection right now. Obviously pretty typical of a strengthening hurricane. We'll take a look at some other products as well. But you can see right here, as I try to navigate these tools, right here is going to be where that center lies, just south of the 19-degree north line. So we have that center right there, and we've got convection blowing up and wrapping around. So this is going to be kind of the key as we go into the next few days. As you see a lot of this, purple, this white, that's going to start making an appearance as it starts to gradually wrap around the hurricane, which is again indicative of rapid intensification. But I do want to take a look real quick at a different product. We will go to water vapor. So you see some of this darker air up here, some of this more drier colors. This is all still wrapping into ERIN as we speak. There's probably a better product for this here. Yeah, here we go. So dry on all levels. You see this right here, all this black? That is still getting entrained into ERIN. So that's kind of the only reason why right now I'm thinking it's not going to rapidly intensify in the next few hours, is because ERIN is taking in all of this dry air. You can see it all in the black. So, but overall, a very, very nice spin to it. You can see how massive it got just compared to a few days ago. And speaking of a few days ago, we'll go ahead and go to Zoom Earth. This is such a great product because it tells you, it shows you what the hurricane looked like just a few days ago. So if we go back, 2, 3, not even 2 days, like yesterday. Yeah, today's the 15th. Here's the 14th. Yesterday morning. Look how small ERIN was. ERIN was pretty small. Tropical storm, 60 miles per hour. We advanced to now. Look how much larger it got in size. So that's kind of the common theme as we're going to be tracking ERIN through the remainder of the week and eventually during its northward turn. Now you can see the National Hurricane Center is calling for a Category 4. I know a lot of people didn't expect that. I kind of expected that. I'll show you a post that I made later on, kind of calling it, just looking at the sea surface temperatures and everything, but very, very warm across the southwestern Atlantic Ocean right now. Very, very warm. We're pretty thankful that this is going to be missing the United States and from the looks of it right now, Bermuda, going right in that little corridor. It couldn't be more perfect, I tell you what, because if Bermuda was facing a direct strike, or maybe North or South Carolina, even New England, this would not have been a good situation. So thankfully, it's really on the best case scenario side of things. Again, got that tropical storm watch across the Leeward Islands. You can see here. I don't think, is St. Martin? Yes, St. Martin is included in that tropical storm watch. So just something to watch for some large swells, but you can see that northward turn pretty evident. So now we're going to go to models here. So this is the GFS model, and you can see, there we go. there's ERIN, the 997 right here. And GFS takes it, again, clears it north of the Caribbean. And notice that little sharp turn right there. It's a sharp turn to the north and right through Bermuda and North Carolina. Now, GFS kind of goes along what I'm thinking too. And I will draw my thoughts out right here. So we're going to have an area of high... Ooh, that's a little bit of a thicker color. There we go. So we have a high pressure right here, and you can see this high pressure over the United States. So what this high pressure is going to do, and this high pressure, it's basically just going to force Hurricane ERIN north. That's why we're not really worried about United States impact. It could get close-ish, but we're not worried about it right now. You can see this trough that comes down here as well, which is going to help steer ERIN. Here's where it is right now. It's going to help steer ERIN right out to sea. So that's the thinking right now. Obviously, things can change, but you're going to see all these posts. Oh, hurricane's going to hit Bermuda. Hurricane's going to hit the United States in 3 days from now. It's all not true. We have a pretty good grasp on what's going to happen with ERIN. It's going to be right through this little goalpost right here, right through this corridor. I will say, though, that if there's... We'll go back to Zoom Earth for this one. I will say, if there's any sort of area that needs to really, really pay attention to ERIN right now, it's going to be the following 3 areas. It's going to be, obviously, the Leeward Islands. I would even maybe lump Puerto Rico into this just to watch for some massive swells. I mean, when you have a major hurricane passing, oh goodness, 100 to 300 miles north of you, it's going to produce some monster waves. So I would watch out for waves. There might be some northerly shear. You can see with these arrows here, might be some northerly shear that pushes a lot of that rain down towards Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands. So localized flash flooding, maybe mudslides possible, but thankfully the majority of the hurricane's core is going to stay, like I said, out to sea. So if there's anywhere that I really should watch right now, it's going to be the Leeward Islands in Puerto Rico. It's going to be Bermuda. I would definitely watch Bermuda. I think Bermuda right now has the strongest chance of seeing any really, really substantial impacts from ERIN is going to be Bermuda. And then lastly, nobody's talking about this yet. I would personally watch maybe the eastern half here of Newfoundland, just because that extratropical transition seems like it's gonna have some sort of impact on, very, very far southeastern Atlantic Canada. And if you don't see an impact, you are for sure going to see some wave action. So let's progress the GFS here a little bit. You can see that high pressure, again, the 2 goalposts allowing ERIN to go right through. And then you can see right as it gets over here, it starts to undergo what we call that extratropical transition. So the hurricane no longer feeds off of that warm water that it once did, around Bermuda. So a front starts to sweep it up, and it starts to merge with that low pressure. So it could get a really, really strong extratropical cyclone out of the remnants of ERIN. But yeah, you can see why I want to watch, southeastern Newfoundland. We can even go to the Canadian, for example. Canadian actually takes it a little closer as well to Newfoundland. So those are the 3 areas I'd watch right now: Bermuda, the Leeward Islands, and Puerto Rico, and the eastern half of southeastern Canada, or I should say Newfoundland, to be even more precise. So we can continue our voyage here on Tropical Tidbits. You can see the National Hurricane Center's cone once again has it taking it north as a major hurricane. And here are the guidance from the GFS and relatively out to sea. Bermuda maybe, but it's going to be right in between those 2 goalposts. Intensity-wise, it is looking like it is going to be a pretty formidable storm as we head into the weekend. You can see down here, so this is the National Hurricane Center's discussion. They always post their forecast positions and their predicted winds. So you can see right down here, 140 miles per hour predicted in about 3 days from now, 72 hours from now. So over the weekend, could get a pretty formidable hurricane over the southwestern Atlantic. But really what you got to take away right now is no impacts to the United States, really. No impacts to the U.S., no impacts to the Caribbean. Obviously, when I say no impacts, I just mean no storm surge or incredibly high winds or anything like that. Anything that's insanely devastating is what I mean by no impact. But lastly, I do want to just check in on some of the models we're saying yesterday. You can see the European generally nailed it. It had it going right in between Bermuda on August 12th. And look at it right now. I mean, the forecast between that and this, it's relatively the same. So the Euro did a great job. You can see the intensity forecast too matches what the National Hurricane Center was saying, a majority of models right here, predicting low end category 4. You always have the outliers that are down here, which say no major hurricane or Category 5. Right now, those are just outliers, but a general sense of what is going to happen. Let's see. So we'll go back to X here. There's a few graphics that I did want to show you. So I always look back in hurricane history, what could, delete these tabs here real quick, what could this track really kind of reflect of a storm in history? Obviously, this has happened before in history, but who did it almost? What storms did it? So if I was going to pick an analog of these two, that I have right here for ERIN, I would pick Earl in 2010, which would be, a closer to the U.S. approach type of analog. You can see it down here, major hurricane north of the Caribbean, grazes North Carolina and New England, but makes landfall in Atlantic Canada. Not saying that's going to happen, but just the general track in the turn north is an analog for me. So I would pick Earl 2010, and I'd also pick another kind of one that's not really talked about too much is Edward in 1996, how it basically turned straight north like all the models are predicting, right in between the two goalposts, Bermuda, North Carolina, and then turning right just before New England and Atlantic Canada. I think Edward right now could probably be the best analog so far for track and intensity, because I am expecting a pretty decent Category 4 hurricane out of ERIN. Sorry, not Earl. This is Earl back here. And Earl's still good for intensity, but just track is a little off. But a combination of those two, I think, could certainly fit the bill for ERIN. And then here is kind of a situation where ERIN maybe favors Bermuda instead of the U.S. Then I'd take a track like Fabian in 2003, where it approaches Bermuda, gets very, very close, and still remains a powerful hurricane. Not, again, saying that this is going to happen, but just looking back on history, always kind of like to do that. So yeah, there you have it. So there's kind of an update on Hurricane ERIN, what to expect. I think we have a Hurricane Hunters flight going into, I can look at the good old reliable Cyclonic WX for this. We should have, yep, okay. Well, it actually departs in 1 minute. Could you believe that? What's the timing on that? So in 1 minute, we've got Hurricane Hunters, it looks like going, yep, into ERIN, and then we got another flight leaving in about an hour and a half. You can see down here, ERIN, a nice classic Cape Verde type hurricane. The only thing is it didn't strengthen really into a hurricane deeper into the main development region, but this is still going to be a strong hurricane regardless. So we'll just leave off on some satellite imagery. You can see how it's moving. So a general track, I'll mark this page up pretty good here. You can see a general track to, it's a little bit farther south, to the west, but eventually it's going to turn towards the west-northwest, which is good news for these islands down here, I tell you that. Got some convection in here. You can start to see those clouds bubbling. That is all the convection. Probably going to start rapidly intensifying, not soon, but also pretty soon. So not within like the next couple hours, but probably within the next day, you're going to see ERIN really start to take off. The only reason why I don't think it's going to take off right now is because you can see all this kind of dry air. See that? This is all getting entrained into ERIN's circulation. So that's going to hamper a little bit of some of the intensification in the short term. However, ERIN just naturally is going to start to mix a lot of this out. And so this dry air will kind of just be left behind in a little pocket, and ERIN will continue to the west-northwest. So some main takeaways. I know I can't type on here, but some main takeaways. Number one, Leeward Islands, Bermuda, and Newfoundland. You all should be on watch. That's kind of the three areas where I think you all should be on watch for ERIN. Second, it's going to intensify. It's going to be a Category 4. The track does take it away from the U.S., so even here I'll just add away from U.S. So away from the United States, no impacts there. And then the third thing that I would take away from this is that the Atlantic is going to start getting active. I mean, this is a massive, for a Category 1, this is a hefty size storm. But look what GFS has here. I'll go back to, we'll clear this, and we'll go back to the models, because the models were hinting at some very, very interesting signs for the Atlantic here within probably the next couple weeks. Where's the Atlantic? Here we go, North Atlantic. So here we go, we got ERIN curving north out to sea. Look at this though down here. Got some tropical waves that look pretty well modeled. I mean, let's go to the Canadian model. Well, look at that. I mean, it still has tropical waves. What does the Euro say? Let's take a look. Yeah, still have the tropical waves. So I think after ERIN clears the Atlantic basin, becomes extratropical up in the far North Atlantic, we're going to have to watch, again, the main development region for some of these tropical waves. I will warn you right now that accounts will be posting things like, I don't know, let's advance and just see, let's advance the GFS and see if there's like any dramatic hurricane that makes landfall within the next like week or so. Let's see. Is there one? Oh yeah, perfect example right here. See that 950 millibar hurricane right at the Gulf Coast? I bet you accounts and numerous people on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, TikTok is bad especially, people are going to be posting this. That's going to show, oh, the dire, oh, Category 3 hurricane hitting the Gulf Coast. I promise you, it's not going to happen. At least not right now. We have so much time. Look at this. This is the 28th of August. It is the 15th. If you can forecast weather, 14 days in advance, let me know, because I could make you a millionaire. Like, really. I mean, you would be incredible knowing exactly where a hurricane's going to make landfall. Out of our technology range right now. We can't do it. This right here that you see is just hype. That's all it is. It's just hype if people post it. It's nice to be aware, especially seeing these tropical waves down here. That's very nice to be aware that, hey, something might happen in the tropical Atlantic next week. There might be chances for something next week. You can't just say, hey, there's going to be a hurricane right over St. Martin next week. You'd be a millionaire if you could do that, but you cannot do that. So just my little warning, if you see posts like that online, to ignore it. I will leave you off, again, with we'll do a satellite image of ERIN. So I'm going to start making some updates on ERIN and just the hurricane season as a whole here. Obviously, this first time around, just kind of like a raw cut. It's not going to be as good as it will be here in the next few days. But just like a first go around to see how this type of format works. Like I said, those 3 key points there. ERIN's going to continue on the west-northwest track here over the next few days, and it should stay away from land, which is the most important thing. You can follow my X, you can follow my TikTok for real and accurate hurricane updates. I will see you next time.